What's going on, my fellow A-Plusers? Welcome back once again. It is I, your host, Adam Perez, with a brand new video today to go ahead and give you guys an update in regards to the upcoming Power Ranger movie reboot. That's right, guys. We finally have some updates, some new information for you guys, because it's actually been quite some time since Jonathan Entwistle, maybe even Brian Edward Hill, who's the writer of the movie, has actually come out and talked about it, to certainly say the least. So while we've been sitting on our hands waiting for some news, today is the day, guys. As of yesterday, which is on Wednesday afternoon, Jonathan Entwistle actually posted an update in regards to how the Power Ranger movie is certainly coming along over on his Instagram. But I wind up actually hearing from this news over on Twitter from perranger.com, at Power Ranger. You can go ahead and check them out on Twitter if you'd like to. But they say, here's the latest update from Jonathan Entwistle, dropping a very subtle hint on the future Power Ranger universe film/TV via his Instagram. Stay tuned, I guess. And when you look at Jonathan Entwistle's tweet, or Instagram, I should say, it says, "And yes, I'm still making shows and movies, ... or at least attempting to." And he winds up showcasing us a photo of the White Ranger of all things, really letting us know at least that when it comes to Power Rangers, he's at least certainly still working on it. Now, I will say this, when it comes to this Twitter sphere, I definitely saw a ton of people throwing in their ideas and their worries, maybe their reassurances, who certainly knows. But the idea of this Instagram from Jonathan Entwistle, I feel like for the most part has either have people still kind of optimistic or looking optimistic, or looking really negatively on this and really kind of fearing for the worst. Does this mean that we're not going to get this movie? When I break this down, or when I look at this particular tweet from Jonathan Entwistle, it still feels very vague. I don't want to say he's leaning towards the pessimistic side, and I'm not necessarily going to say everything is completely optimistic. The one thing that I will say is Jonathan Entwistle is still working on Power Rangers. That itself is certainly the key. So a couple of things here that I wind up taking away from it, okay? He says, and yes, I'm still making shows and movies, maybe because we haven't heard from him in quite some time, so he wants everybody to remember, I'm still alive here, guys, I'm still alive. But when he says, or at least attempting to, I can't lie. The first thing that does come to my mind is the idea that perhaps there's a little bit of a struggle behind the scenes. Maybe there is some sort of creative differences that are definitely happening between Jonathan Entwistle and Hasbro. I have seen a couple of people on Twitter mention the idea that maybe the Illuminati dropped this reference before, that maybe there was some trouble in paradise, as they put it, maybe some issues certainly behind the scenes. So maybe this is what Jonathan Entwistle is referring to. The idea that yes, I'm still working on it, making shows and movies and things like that, or at least attempting to, in a sense that maybe my creative vision that I had for Power Rangers isn't 100% there anymore. Maybe it is the case that Hasbro and Jonathan are on, I don't want to say two completely different pages, but maybe there are some differences in what Jonathan Entwistle certainly wanted to do, and maybe what Hasbro has envisioned for their particular property, right? So I will say this. The one thing out of this that I think should be understood is the fact that, I am a very big supporter of creators being able to tell their vision, right? But I also do understand that the property itself of Power Rangers does belong to Hasbro. So the final say is always going to be on Hasbro, right? The movie that they want to make is what we'll certainly see at the end of the day, just with maybe somebody else's vision. So I understand that when it comes to making movies, there's always going to be a push and pull, I'm sure, with a creator's vision compared to what the studio certainly wants for itself. So I'm almost feeling that that's what we're having here. I don't necessarily know if Jonathan Entwistle's vision is completely off the table and he now has to do everything that Hasbro wants, but I wouldn't be surprised if there is some push and pull going on behind the scenes, that maybe Jonathan Entwistle wants to pull the trigger and do something, but maybe Hasbro's making him change it up, or maybe doesn't want that included in the movie, sort of thing. So I do think that there's a lot that can certainly be read from just this one Instagram post, but I wouldn't necessarily say it's the end all be all of this Power Ranger movie. I'm personally not super worried about it. The fact that he's still working on it means that at least some of his vision is certainly going to be told, but I don't necessarily know if I would say that this is studio interference, right? Like when I think of studio interference, I think the idea of like them filming and stuff, and the studio just not being thrilled with how it's coming out, so they start taking their liberties and editing the film and start putting their ideas forward and first. So I don't necessarily feel that this is studio interference so much as it is just the natural push and pull of trying to create something. And when you realize what Jonathan Entwistle is trying to create, right? They've been talking about rebooting, reimagining this Power Ranger universe. That can be messy, and that's gigantic and huge, and it's not something that can just be easily written in a couple of months, right? You're literally having to shape an entire universe and really shape how you want this to certainly go. So I definitely do think that Hasbro has the right to definitely at least push forward their ideas and what they certainly want to see, but I also do think that there should be some creative liberties for Jonathan, and hopefully he's able to hold on to some of his ideas that he certainly wants for this, because I will say this is no easy task, right? When you're trying to literally reboot and reimagine a franchise that's been around for 20 plus years, that's not an easy task. So on one side, again, you can look at this in that sense that maybe there are creative differences there, right? Or you can simply look at the idea of thinking that when he says, or at least attempting to, that maybe life has just been extremely crazy for Jonathan Entwistle, right? Like maybe the fact that he's attached to other projects that he's currently working on that might have him busy as well, to kind of maybe take away sometimes from him trying to create and establish this sort of world. So maybe not necessarily creative issues with Hasbro so much as just maybe real life and other duties and other jobs that you've been hired for maybe kind of get in a way, right? So attempting to just kind of means that maybe there's something in the way, whether that's life or that's Hasbro. There's clearly something that's in the way as he's attempting to try and go ahead and create this. So it really depends on which side you want to be optimistic, be pessimistic and worried. It's certainly up to you. But for me, I think the positive that I take away from this, regardless, is the fact that it's still being made. Jonathan Entwistle is certainly still attached until we know otherwise. So we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. So as far as like release dates of 2023, we haven't really gotten anything officially announced, if I'm not mistaken. Everything is certainly still up in the air. I mean, goodness, they're still, what, 2 years away from June of 2023, right? I mean, still significantly a decent amount of time to create what you need, get pre-production ready, start your casting and things like that before you even have to be in front of the camera. So this is definitely going to take some time, but I'm glad that we at least got ourselves somewhat of an update. Whether or not fans are going to be positive with this update or look at this negatively, who certainly knows though. But I think both are extremely natural. And I don't think we should get too worried about it. If it's life, it's a natural course. If it's push and pull from Hasbro, that's natural as well. Maybe a shame that Jonathan Entwistle may not be able to use everything that he wants to. But again, it is Hasbro's property, to certainly say the least. So I'm not looking this as, again, interference by the studio. I think this is just a normal push and pull, or it's just his life kind of getting in the way. But I would kind of like to know what you guys think. If anything, I think what really intrigues me the most is why he used the White Ranger helmet, right? Like, you could have used any photo of Power Rangers that you decided to use. So a part of me is kind of wondering, does the White Ranger play a significant role in here? Are we getting JDF back to go ahead and do a cameo? Is this an instance or a reference to the idea of where you're going to be picking up either the storyline, or, you know, if the storyline still continues to be that we're grabbing kids from the future, bringing them back into time, do they get placed into the time period after the White Rangers kind of come onto the scene? So I am kind of curious if the White Ranger photo means anything in particular. And, you know, I don't know if Jonathan Entwistle's is that, like, let me sneak some really cool you know, hints here and there, like this sky, maybe the sky itself hints at something. Maybe this White Ranger helmet will hint at something. I find it interesting why he picked that picture to utilize when he could have certainly used any other one. So I am kind of curious to see if the role of the White Ranger is significant in here or not. But listen, guys, I want to know your thoughts. You hear this. Jonathan Entwistle still clearly working on it. Yes, I'm still making shows and movies, or at least attempting to. So what do you think is hindering him, if you will? Do you think it's life? Do you think it's creative differences? Definitely go ahead and let me know your guys' thoughts. But regardless, I'm not worried, guys. The movie's certainly coming. Jonathan's still working on it. Until they tell me otherwise, I'm still eager to certainly see what their vision is and what they're certainly trying to create for us at the end of the day. But guys, let me know your thoughts. What did you guys think about this particular new update from Jonathan Entwistle? Are you staying positive? Are you kind of worried now? Definitely go ahead and let me know your thoughts in the live chat or the comment section box below. But we'll definitely talk a little bit about this more this upcoming Saturday. We go live every Saturday at noon Central Time. It might actually be what we kick off the show with, or maybe our second topic that we definitely go ahead and talk about it. And maybe we'll wind up getting ourselves more development and information either from Jonathan or maybe the writer Brian as we get closer to the weekend. But we'll definitely keep you guys posted. But until next time, do me a big favor, guys. Take care of yourselves, take care of each other, and as always, keep it A+. I'll talk to you guys later. Bye. If you enjoy our content and want to be a part of helping our channel grow, become a Patron supporter. We have affordable tiers to choose from that offer a variety of exclusive and early access content, from audio files for all of our shows for you to enjoy on the road, access to our Discord community, and plenty of reactions, reviews, character breakdowns, and more. Check us out at patreon.com/A+opinions. And as always, remember, like, subscribe, and hit that bell notification so anytime we drop a brand new video, you will be notified.